Okay, we'll start with this. You may have heard earlier today, BOXXER and NBC Sports reach a deal to air events on Peacock, their streaming platform. And it's certainly good news for the people over there at BOXXER, Ben Shalom, and the fighter.
I'll admit I expected them to get more of a commitment from ESPN because that's where some BOXXER shows here in America, that's where you'd go to see them.
UK promotional company BOXXER and NBC Sports have announced a media rights partnership that will bring BOXXER events to US audiences. The bouts will stream live and exclusively on NBC Universal's streaming platform Peacock, with select events airing on NBC. We're excited to bring boxing back to NBC Sports, and with the sports debut on Peacock, begin a new chapter in NBC Sports' storied boxing history, said Gary Quinn, Vice President of Programming and Owned Properties, NBC Sports.
They're bringing boxing back to NBC. When's the last time NBC did a boxing match?
Many years ago. Some may remember that when the PBC started out, they started out on NBC. That was their broadcast partner several years ago. Obviously, that relationship didn't last. BOXXER, founded by Ben Shalom, airs their events live and exclusively on Sky Sports in the UK and Ireland. After the UK sports broadcaster signed BOXXER as its exclusive British provider of boxing content in 2021, the new partnership between BOXXER and NBC will provide transatlantic distribution of Sky Sports production. The deal will see BOXXER Fight Nights added to NBC Sports' portfolio of sports programming, which includes the Olympic Games, Premier League, Sunday Night Football, Big Ten football, and basketball, Notre Dame football, NASCAR, golf, and more.
It is important to note that NBC, their track record, they do air more sports content, more sporting content than, say, a Showtime.
It's not a recent development either for those of you that may be tuning into this channel from outside of the United States and are not familiar with NBC. NBC, at least historically, has aired more sporting content, diversified sporting content, than, say, a Showtime, though it has been some years since they did boxing matches. The ultimate goal will be to bring BOXXER events to the United States. The action begins on Saturday, October 21st, live from the O2 in London, when number 1 and number 2 world-ranked light heavyweights Joshua Buatsi and Dan Aziz put a decade-long friendship aside to battle for bragging rights and a shot at the WBA world title live on Peacock. This weekend's action will kick it off for NBC. For those of you not already subscribed to Peacock, this is yet another subscription.
That's why I've got mixed feelings about all of this. I would have preferred to see more of a commitment from the ESPN Plus app to show BOXXER cards than them going to an entirely new network.
BOXXER shows, select BOXXER shows, at least the bigger ones like Shields versus Marshall and Khan versus Brook, Eubank versus Smith, have been aired here in America by way of ESPN Plus.
The bigger shows, not all of them. There are a good number of BOXXER shows that ESPN Plus didn't pick up, which is likely the reason why Ben Shalom and the people at BOXXER wanted more of a commitment.
Shalom said, "We're delighted to announce this landmark partnership with NBC Sports in what is a major moment for the company, allowing audiences across the USA to watch our stars in action throughout the year. NBC Sports reaches millions of fans every day, providing an incredible platform stateside for BOXXER and our elite roster. We look forward to kickstarting the partnership with a huge show 21st of October as Joshua Buatsi and Dan Aziz put it all on the line at the O2 in London." The Peacock platform hosts approximately 24 million subscribers. 24.
Let's put it this way. The Peacock platform does show more sports than a Showtime, but they're not a sporting app like DAZN. Don't confuse them with DAZN.
Or ESPN Plus. Those streaming apps specifically show sports and specifically cater to those looking for sports, different types of sports. Peacock does show different types of sports, but that's not all they got. They got a lot of TV shows and movies and originals and things like that. Sports are part of their portfolio, but that's not what they specialize in.
That's just a part of it.
What's interesting is they're saying they want to bring BOXXER shows to America, promote those shows here in the United States, when BOXXER primarily caters to a UK audience. They primarily have UK fighters signed. Does this mean that BOXXER is going to start signing American fighters to do American fights that they can promote here in America? Because as good as some of those fighters are, it's a tough sell in the United States.
It sounds like it's a little bit more than just a rights deal, a transatlantic rights deal, that NBC wants to bring them here.
That actually is interesting, though I myself am ambivalent because I would have preferred to see a little bit more consolidation, more of a commitment from ESPN Plus to BOXXER to show more of their cards. Now, you might have to subscribe to a different streaming platform if you're really interested in watching BOXXER shows, and I don't know how many people here in America are.
The strength of their stable, their shows, and how much interest they can muster.
We'll see. In men's junior middleweight news, on the heels of his big win this past weekend, Tszyu praises Brian Mendoza. He's tough, he has power, he's world class for a reason. A well-fought fight on both sides of it, even though Brian Mendoza lost. He acquitted himself well. Man, he's tough, Tszyu said. He's crafty, he's slick, he has power, he's world class for a reason. He's just behind me. I wanted to have some fun tonight, perform for everyone. It's my last hoorah. We finished up with a little bang. Hopefully we can all go to Vegas together. I've got a pack of lions with me. Every single person in Australia. The support here has been unreal. Thanks to all the day ones. See you all in Vegas. It was a tactical fight, with Tszyu patiently stalking Mendoza and measuring him and landing big shots. Tszyu pummeled Mendoza in the 10th and 11th rounds as he chased him from pillar to post with a series of thumping overhand rights and lefts. Somehow, Mendoza kept his wits about him and survived the onslaught, but blood trickled from both eyes from the punishment.
As far as I'm concerned, Tszyu is the #1 junior middleweight in the world until Charlo, this division's former undisputed champion, gives me reason to think otherwise.
Tszyu hasn't forgotten about him. He hasn't forgotten about Charlo. He called him out. In his delusional head, he'll probably think he's going to beat me. Come and get it, for sure. Charlo will fight me. He fought Canelo, best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. He's the best 154-pounder. But let's prove who really is the king of this division. While it is true that Charlo was willing to move up in weight and roll the dice with Canelo, there was an obvious financial incentive in order for him to do so, that win, lose, or draw, win, lose, or fall, you're going to make more money fighting Canelo than you'd make with anyone else.
Yeah.
And that financial incentive is not the same across the board. No, you don't make fighting Tszyu what you made fighting Canelo Alvarez. So where Tszyu, in his own mind, might think that Jermel is willing to roll the dice with him, I'm not so sure. You don't just go up to 168 and drop back down to 154 and come back the same guy. He's gonna lose something on the way down if he goes back down.
Don't you remember what happened to Kell Brook? He moved up for Gennady Golovkin, got knocked out, moved back down to 147, got knocked out again. Now, Jermel didn't get knocked out by Canelo, but he definitely got beat, and he definitely got demoralized.
The psychological factor, and all the mean-spirited things people have been saying about him in the world of boxing and outside of it. Guys like Cameron Giles and Mason Betta, all of that stuff, that at this point, Charlo's confidence is likely at an all-time low, even if his bank account is at an all-time high.
No, I don't think he's feeling too good about himself right now.
And if nothing else, the weight. He has not made the junior middleweight limit in over a year. If by some chance next year he decides he's going to go back down there, he decides he's going to fight Tszyu, well, it may have been well over a year, close to 2, since he's fought as a junior middle. It's going to take something out of him. He is older than Tszyu. It's harder for him to make that weight.
He's under orders to satisfy his mandatory challenger by way of the IBF. Bakram Murtazaliev, and the clock is ticking. He's got less than 30 days now to reach a deal with him.
I do think of the Bakram Murtazaliev fight, even under these circumstances, as a more winnable fight than the Tszyu fight. So if Charlo is serious about returning to the junior middleweight division, then that would be ideal. You fight Bakram en route to Tim, and what would be a bigger fight?
No, it's not as big as the Canelo fight was, but it's a decent-sized fight. Tszyu has effectively made a splash that has reverberated all the way from the shores of Australia to the shores of America. They know who he is.
I don't want to jump to conclusions and make bold proclamations, but it's hard to imagine that Jermel having just fought at 168, he's going to return to 154 in a jiffy to fight Bakram Murtazaliev? I mean, think about it. He forfeited the WBO. He knew what he was doing. He knew what would happen, but he still forfeited the WBO to Tszyu, prioritizing the Canelo fight. He might end up forfeiting the IBF to Bakram Murtazaliev.
Because who says that he's ready to come back?
Regardless of whatever, I think Tszyu beats him. There was a time when I did favor Jermell to knock out Tszyu because Tim was a greener fighter, less experienced. But he's done a lot. He's done a lot in a short amount of time. More than most fighters are doing within the span of one calendar year, taking on Carlos Ocampo and a former champion in Tony Harrison, a top contender, a hungry one on a hot streak in Brian Mendoza. Tim has developed into a world-class fighter, and at this point, if they fight, I've got Tim.
I don't know what the fuck you think this is.
I don't know what the fuck you think is going on here. But what Jermell did was essentially abandon his post, and he did it for the bag. He made a decision that most boxers would have made, but in making that decision, you abandoned your post. I'm not sure that Jermell Charlo is still the king of the junior middleweights anymore. It's been well over a year since he fought there, and it could be 2 before he does again.
How the fuck do you think this works? What fucking fairy tale do you think you're watching? This is boxing!
The fuck are you, sentimental or something? You got a soft spot for Jermell Charlo? You got a soft spot for Texas fighters or American fighters? I don't care about none of that shit.
Fuck that shit.
Any more of these googly-eyed idiots and the gross oversights they make because they've got a soft spot for a fighter. The reality is, this guy just went up to 168, and in the sport of boxing, when you go up, it's ill-advised for you to come back down. Jermell hasn't made that weight in over a year. It could be 2 before he does again. And you think he's gonna have the durability and the confidence to face a young, hungry fighter in Tszyu?
Not face him, not just face him, but actually beat him. At this point, I would pick both Tszyu and Terence Crawford to beat Jermell Charlo.
There's enough there. I don't like his chances to deal with the pressure and the power that Tszyu brings to the table. Where Jermell Charlo might be weakened by making 154, Tszyu is making it just fine. And because he fights more often than Jermell, he's going to be sharper than Jermell. He's already fresher and younger. He fights more often, which makes him sharper.
Enough of the bullshit.
Googly-eyed bullshit from sentimental boxing fans that get way too fucking attached. You wanna know who I think wins a fight? I think Tszyu wins a fight. That's who I think wins. And finally, 2 divisions north of junior middle at super middle, David Morrell says this fight is a clown circus in reference to the upcoming David Benavidez versus Demetrius Andrade fight. He says, in the end, no one says my name, but if they want to be the best, they have to beat the best. And the best at 168 is Osvari J, talking about himself. Enough of teasing and selling the fights. Bitches fight with real boxers, Benavidez and Andrade. He is obviously not a fan of this fight because earlier this year, it seems like he was led astray, us along with him. Both Samson Lukowicz and David Benavidez's father, Jose Benavidez Sr., they communicated to the media that David Benavidez, after the Caleb Plant fight, he would be fighting David Morrell. And we were under that impression for a number of weeks, for a number of months, up until David Benavidez himself dispelled that, called it fake news.
How is it fake? It's coming from your father. It's coming from your promoter. Are you calling them liars?
It must be, because at the beginning of this year, Samson Lukowicz, when speaking to who I believe was YSM Media, he said the deal was done. He said the contracts for that fight, the fight between David Morrell and David Benavidez, he said they were already signed. Well, that's not what David Benavidez was saying, which makes Samson Lukowicz a liar.
In truth, I knew Samson Lukowicz was full of shit long before any of that stuff started. David Morrell, unfortunately, is a member of the Who Needs You Club.
There's a small group of people that are already sold on David Morrell. They've already started singing his praises and how he would beat everybody at the weight, Canelo Alvarez included. I think those eggs need more bacon, though. In any event, David Benavidez, it seems like he had a choice between David Morrell and Demetrius Andrade, and it's not hard to see what the hierarchy of thought was. Why fight a hard-punching, crafty southpaw when you can fight a light-punching, aging southpaw?
In his mid-30s.
It's just me bouncing ideas around, though when I do, it's not hard to see how we got here. It seems that David Benavidez had a choice between boxing two southpaws, and he chose to fight the lighter puncher and the older fighter who doesn't have much experience at the weight. David Morrell, he doesn't have a lot of fights, but all the fights he has are at super middleweight, whereas Demetrius, he just got there. He just got there earlier this year on the undercard of Davis versus Hector Garcia, and he didn't look good in that fight. He got sat on his back pocket by Desmond Nicholson, so maybe that helped David Benavidez make his final decision. Where Samson Lukowicz and his father, maybe they thought he was going to fight David Morrell, he decided, no, I'm fighting Demetrius Andrade because it's not as dangerous a fight, at least in his own mind. That's how it looks to me.
Which means David Morrell is up Schitt's Creek without a paddle, because if those two guys are fighting each other, who are you gonna fight?
Not former IBF champion Caleb Plant. He seems to be fixated on fighting someone else.
And who did you name?
David Morrell, Jaime Munguia, John Ryder. Any of those names appeal to you at all?
Right now, my main focus is Jamal Charlo. That's who I want to fight. So he's been talking about moving up to 68 for some time. I know he's right on the verge of that, and that's a fight that needs to happen in boxing.
Now, you could argue that there is a precedence for Caleb Plant and Jamal Charlo to fight each other because of what happened in the parking lot or whatever it was a couple of weeks ago. But at this point in the juncture, Jamal Charlo's spoken for. He's fighting Jose Benavidez, I heard, at a catchweight of some kind. I mean, you've got him on your radar, but you're not about to fight him.
So what about David Morrell?
Caleb Plant said that he would like to run it back with David Benavidez, and he would like to run it back with Canelo Alvarez. It just so happens David Morrell is the WBA's regular champion. He is in many ways the mandatory challenger to the WBA title. So if Caleb Plant were really serious about, getting a Canelo Alvarez rematch, he would go through that guy. That might help to get him there. But you see, he didn't even acknowledge him. He's acknowledging a middleweight who has not fought in close to 3 years. So allow me to make a suggestion. If David Morrell can't get David Benavidez, and he can't get Demetrius Andrade, and he can't get Caleb Plant, one guy who might be available is Carlos Gongora. The same Carlos Gongora that was just in that war with Christian Mabili earlier this year. He dropped a decision in what was an entertaining fight. He has since rebounded off that loss with a second-round knockout of Johan Teheran. Why don't you put David Morrell in the ring with that guy?
He's never been stopped. If David Morrell can be the first to stop him, that's making a statement.
And they're both action fighters, Carlos Gongora and David Morrell. I don't think you have to break the bank to get Carlos Gongora in the ring. So while he waits, why don't they feed David Morrell that guy?
Because if nothing else, you have to keep him busy. You have to keep him active.